After reports of Fred VanVleet missing this season, many people counted out the Houston Rockets as legit contenders. But fast forward 3 weeks into the season, they currently have the highest offensive rating in the NBA, which is even more impressive considering all the ridiculous offensive talent that's in the league right now. With Houston, their ability to offensive rebound and win the possession battle is easily the biggest factor behind their offensive numbers. But the half-court scoring that Kevin Durant brings has also been a big deal. So obviously, Durant still being one of the best bucket getters at age 37 is kinda nuts. But what separates Durant from other aging superstars is that he's gone through some of the worst basketball injuries, most notable his Achilles tear in the 2019 finals. But despite the age and bad history of injuries, Durant is still a 25+ scorer on a night-to-night basis, except this year he's doing it without a traditional point guard. And when diving deeper into the film, the way Durant has been going about getting his points has been slightly different. Now again, because of Houston's lack of ball handling, Durant has been getting a lot more usage out of pick and roll, and this initially gave me some worries. Over the past decade, Durant has consistently averaged over 3 turnovers per game, and the combination of him having a loose handle, not having the quickness to get blow-bys, while often forcing tough passes, has always made him pretty shaky as the head of the offense. But even with KD generally playing with the ball more, we haven't seen a big spike with his turnovers. With his game out of pick and roll, literally everything stems from his ability to set his man up. If Durant can just run his man cleanly off the screen, that's more than half the battle. Because once he turns the corner, his skill set is just overwhelming for any drop defender. Probably the most underrated part about KD's game is how simple and direct he keeps everything. When playing off the catch, he'll simply hold, wait, and let the screen get set. He's going to catch it here out 40 feet from the basket, and he's just going to put the ball on the outside hip and wait for Adams to come up and get set. And again, once he gets all this daylight to go at the slower footed big, it's pretty much a wrap.
Little hezzy, spin, fade, score.
Same thing here. KD is going to catch, and when he feels the defense playing him on his left side, he waits for Adams to flip the screen to come off back to his right. And as he snakes it across, he's going to flow into this pound step back. And then in the same vein, Durant's counters are also very simple. He feels the defense here overplaying the screen, so he's just going to rip it back to his left. And once he feels the defense collapse down, he's obviously got the height and lift to get his shot off. And that simplicity also carries over if Durant's playing off a live dribble. As Rollins here steps up to pressure him, look how he's going to time the screen perfectly by skipping his feet up as Şengün gets his feet set, which gives him the momentum to blast off the screen. And from here, it's right back to stopping on 2 and elevating. Over recent years, Durant's also gotten pretty strong off the dribble. Compared to his OKC days, he's much more comfortable initiating contact and keeping his base while attacking below the arc. And when you already have his ridiculous shot making, just a little bit of extra strength goes a long way. I like how he blends his physicality and pace here, where he's just going to attack away from the screen and lower his shoulder into contact. But look how he's going to change his level by skipping off his left foot to then replant it and push himself downhill. And he gets this clean angle past the defense to then drift out this baseline fadeaway. Out of pick and roll, Durant's pull-up shooting from 3 is also a big factor. If he gets any daylight off the bounce, the first option is to always look to shoot. And he can do it while facing up with the defense or turning the corner for aggressive one-dribble pull-ups. Shots like this may seem pretty simple, but the footwork and balance it takes is really tough, where Durant's able to run the defense into the screen to then take one dribble and settle himself for a left-right jumper.
Second 3 for Shireman. Kevin Durant with his...
And that ability to take and make shots off the dribble also feeds into KD's driving game, where both his man and the big stepping up to meet him with the ball gives him the leverage to hit the turbo button and slice the rim. And that additional ball pressure allows Durant to get easy blow-bys, even while lacking that elite first step. Look how Wemby here has both feet beyond the 3 to meet him, and Durant's going to open up his stance by floating out to his left to then attack that top foot with his push cross, and he's got the length to immediately gather and finish. So again, despite the age and worn down body, Durant is still a legit 3-level scorer. He can pop 3s if he gets too much space, plus if he's cleanly turning the corner, he's still one of the best in-between scorers across the league. So because of that off the dribble shooting from 3 in the mid-range, KD often pulls the defending big and drop up and across, which opens up these routine pocket passes. And whether he's going right or left, these passes are pretty much automatic. And the thing is, for Houston, pretty much all their bigs are more than capable passers. So if guys like Şengün or Adams are catching in the middle of the floor, they can both score and make the right play.
Back to him, wrap around to Tari on the other side, nicely.
And the thing is, because Durant is such an elite in-between scorer, he's always getting opportunities to pass once he turns the corner. He's always pulling the big or gap defense up, which opens up windows for tight reads and traffic. So as an overall playmaker, I would say Durant is pretty good. He can make all your standard reads out of pick and roll, and if the defense puts 2 on the ball, he's generally going to make the right play. But at the same time, Durant has never been a truly top tier passer. He'll often thread the needle on really tough deliveries, and while being in scoring mode, he does have a hard time processing the entire floor. He's going to attack away from the screen here, and Wagner can just leave Jabari Smith and jump on the ball. And because of Durant's looser handle, he also has a hard time absorbing double teams. If he tries to probe and keep his dribble alive, the ball for him is naturally more exposed. So if he gets an aggressive coverage, his initial instinct is to always look to pick up and get rid of it, which may lead to fewer giveaways, but it also doesn't create massive advantage for your teammates. For example, the best playmakers from here would extend that dribble to really pull this double team, but the quick pickup and pass makes it easier for the defense to rotate. And Houston's lack of floor spacing doesn't do him any favors too. You'll often see the weak side and gap defense shrinking the floor with heavy help. So even if KD makes the right read, there's often not enough space for it to amount to much. So out of pick and roll, Durant's obviously not going to be Luka Doncic, but he's still really good at playing off angles and giving himself space to come off and get into that pull-up shooting. And like we've seen, that outside threat makes it easier to get downhill and put pressure on the rim. And from every spot, Durant can make the right play and put the defense in rotation. Now, the other thing that Durant obviously does a lot of is play in isolation. And as a one-on-one scorer, his game is literally timeless. If he catches the ball somewhere below the arc and the defense doesn't send a double, he's pretty much guaranteed to get a good shot off. When facing up, Durant's great at both reading the defense and finding windows for his jumper. He's going to bring the ball up and around to the outside hip. And when the defense has their hands dropped, he can easily get the ball to a set point. Kevin here is going to pivot across and drop his level. And again, when the defense has their hands dropped, that's just an automatic rise up. He's being guarded here by arguably the best wing defender in the NBA. But watch Durant again just face up, bring the ball around to the outside hip, and rise up for his jumper.
And there you go.
And like we saw out of pick and roll, that face-up shooting forces the defense to press up and get in KD's jersey. But that again makes it easier for him to find these driving angles. As this defender is trying to press up, look how Durant is going to load up off that back foot and drive right into his body, and he's able to bump him back and create space to elevate. So typically, if Durant's being guarded by a smaller wing or guard, that's when we'll see this face-up game off the catch. But if he's being guarded by a center or anybody who's around the same size as he is, that's when he'll unleash his game off the dribble. And against the right matchups, Durant's game off the bounce is pretty dynamic. But everything stems from simple and effective moves. One of his go-tos is just his pocket dribble and blow-by, where he brings the ball up to his outside hip and splits his stance to explode. And this pretty much lays the foundation for everything that Durant likes to do. He can pocket and explode, pocket and rise up for a jumper, or pocket and change direction. And no matter where the ball is or what move he commits to, Durant has the ball control and footwork to always counter. He's going to pocket and cross the ball here, but when he feels the defense's hips open up, he's going to snatch the ball back and separate behind the line. Off the bounce, Durant's also very good at skipping and playing lateral, and this is meant to get outside of the defense's frame, set up more angles to attack, while building up momentum off the bounce. He's going to transfer the ball between and skip out to his right, to then explode into a one-dribble pull-up. But then again, there's always counters. Durant's going to cross the ball and skip out to his right, to then bring it back to his left here.
Passionate about their
Another one of KD's go-to moves is the scissor step, where he brings the foot opposite from the ball across, and punches it back to push himself downhill. We'll see him here cross the ball to his right, and notice how that left foot follows, and he's going to drive off that foot to explode towards the basket. The footwork here is really tough, where KD again pounds the ball and brings the opposite foot up, but now he's going to transfer it back through. So in essence, Durant's handle is all about creating angles and getting the defense on his hip. But once that happens, it's about being stable and keeping that driving line. And this is where that improved strength becomes a big factor. We'll see him again here bring the ball through and play lateral. But look how he's able to drive through the defense's chest and bump his way into the paint. Look how he's going to carve out this angle by swiping with his off arm. And on his way to the basket, he's not shying away from contact. And that strength also allows Durant to stay on balance and constantly read the defense. He's going to hit the same move here by swiping and pulling himself into this drive. But when the weak side defense rotates across, he's got the control to pick up and separate out towards the baseline. Again, being able to attack the basket hard like this, to then pick up and separate for a right-hand step back, takes a ridiculous amount of body control. We can see more of that stability on this play, where Durant's initially attacking to his right, but watch him pick up and slam the brakes off that left foot, and pop up his vertical floater. So obviously, Durant's blend of size and shot making will always make him a top tier scorer. But what's really impressive to me is how Durant knows how to apply each skill set. If he's matched up with a smaller guard or wing, that's when he's going to look to catch and establish position below the arc, or just initiate a post up. But if he's matched up with someone who has a similar physical frame, that's when he'll get into his game off the dribble. And while KD's best days athletically are behind him, I do think he's developed this kind of old man strength. He's looked much more comfortable establishing position off the ball, and while attacking the basket, he has no problem initiating or absorbing contact. Now, while Durant does have plenty of tools as a one-on-one scorer, he also has a few sore spots. The biggest thing to me is that both his burst off the dribble and lift in the paint is not what it once was. He does have a hard time getting clean blow-bys on the perimeter, and then on top of that, because of Houston's lack of floor spacing in the half court, it's also easier for the gap defense to shrink the floor. Both of those factors typically lead to KD getting pushed out into long contested twos, which sure are shots that he can make, but it's tough for any offense to stomach these kind of looks in high volume. And the thing is with KD right now, I do think he has a hard time going up against the elite wing and backcourt defenders. Even a few years back with Brooklyn in the playoffs, we saw him really struggle for 4 games against Boston in the first round, where they had the personnel to switch and play him straight up. And it was a lot of turnovers and bad all-around shots. And my worry is that all the best teams in the West right now all have really good wing defenders, from OKC to Denver and Minnesota. So in a playoff setting, I still have some questions about how reliable KD can be. I think his improved strength and stability with the ball does add a different wrinkle to his game. But right now, it's going to be a tall task for him to shoulder an entire offense in the playoffs. I think because of Houston's half-court shot creation and offensive rebounding, they're going to most likely have a top 5 offense in the regular season. But the playoffs for me is still going to be a big question mark.